Hello, folks. I'm back. Did you miss me? I don't know if you missed me or not. So, how y'all been? How y'all doing? I'm your host with the most. My name is Courtney Webb, and this is The Strange and Wonderful. Welcome back. This is episode 29. I know, right? I was like, whoa, I was so full with so many episodes. I had not expected this so full. And I'd like to thank everyone for subscribing to my channel and liking and subscribe. And if you new, subscribe, like and subscribe to my channel. Because if we reach 100 subscribers, I'm gonna do a song with nothing but that. Making fart sounds with my hands. Okay, so you might have noticed that well, I got into a little bit of drama in the background scenes. But it didn't really involve me. My last guest, Wigwolf, he ended up doing dangerous stuff in his private life and ended up involving drama with me because I did an interview with him, which is find it so ridiculous and stuff. And I had people tell me that I need to take down the interview because I might get blacklisted from getting other guests. But then I have other people tell me I need to keep it up because I don't believe in censorship. And all I was doing was interviewing the guy. All I was doing was talking about his films and stuff. Nothing else. Nothing about his personal life at all. So I decided to keep it back up. Because me, I am personally not in the drama of any of this. I am on no one's side. I do not condone what Red Wolf did in the past. I think if he's watching this right now, he probably is. Hey. I did not condone what you did in the past. I did not condone what you did with the trolling, especially joking around death, which is not serious to talk about. I believe you should apologize to those people and do better. And the other people they're doing the drama, I have nothing to do with him. I don't influence his real life or anything. I tried to make him a better person. I wanted to get that off my chest. But yeah, I'm not going to take it down. I don't believe in censorship. And all I was discussing was his film. But do I need to do better background checks? Yes. Yes. Yes, I did. I would say that in the future. But a lesson learned, I learned the best. And I think both sides need to do better. So we got that off the chest. So I have a very special guest coming on the show. I don't know why I'm moving around like this. I know I'm totally in a different room, a totally different laptop. But hey, it's okay. So the guest I have today, I discovered on Instagram of all places. I saw this weird scarecrow fusion with Cinderella, and I was like at this convention. I think it was Spectacular or something feel, if I remember. But I found it so interesting, and she dressed up like her characters from the book that she's promoting. And I found that so freaking fantastic and everything. And I had to have her on my show because this is strange and wonderful. She had been featured at Barnes & Noble too. With her work like, I know Mice. Mice is her newest book. It's about 3 blind mice, mixture for the fusion of Cinderella. I welcome this lovely lady, Jackie Sonnenberg. Let me get my hands on my mouse. Jackie Sonnenberg, welcome. Hello.
Hello. Hi, Courtney. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome, and thank you for coming on the show. I say I got a comment from Miss Quinn. She's my previous guest and friend. She says, You're so cool. She met you at Spooky Empire a few times. That's the Spooky Empire.
Cool. Hi, that Miss Quinn. Thank you for the comment. Thank you for tuning in. Oh,
Yes, you saw you watching right now. I know we have one video on Facebook right now. So how you been? How you doing? So
I'm doing pretty good. I mean, it's the time of year where Halloween haunt season is over. So I think a lot of people in the industry, not just myself, are recovering from that and also preparing for, the next one and anything else that comes before that. So it's like a time of the year where it's like it's quieter, but at the same time it's also busier in different ways. I think we could all understand what that is.
yeah, especially with the holidays and everything, because
Hmm.
I hadn't did my gift shopping at all. I've been asking people what do you want. They're like, I don't know. I'm like, that doesn't help me,
Yeah.
and I don't know because everything's going up, inflation. Oh, it's ridiculous.
Oh yeah.
Mm. So let me start with my questions. Okay. I start this question with every guest on my show, no matter what. What is strange and wonderful about yourself?
I think it's my creativity and the fact that I have no limits when it comes to creativity because I'm always thinking of new ideas and new things and like what to do with them. So I'll get an idea for something and I'll play it out as much as I could with various things. So when it comes to books and book characters, I center a story around a character and a setting and everything. So I'm always thinking about the stories and the characters and how it relates to the setting and whatnot. And then that's where I come up with the costuming to go with that. So I create the costume, the character. I have both of them in mind for that when I come up with the stories. And I've actually come up with strange and wonderful ways to promote myself as you've stated, I dress up in costumes of my original characters and I promote it at conventions and events. And it's just a really fun and interactive way of marketing because I think there's no better way to introduce people to my stories than by introducing them to the characters. And I interact with people in character,
Oh,
and it
wow.
yeah, it prompts a response. And of course, I have like little flyers, little handouts that gives information about who this is, where they're from, because you get that a lot when you
And
go to
so,
conventions and you're
so you're
dressed with
like
something
technically,
different.
so sorry for interrupting me, but so
That's
you're
okay.
technically a walking booth.
I Yes, and I have actually called myself that many times because I would have people asking me, "Where do we get this? Do you have a booth here at the show?" And most of the time I don't. Most of the time I enjoy going to conventions as a patron so that I could do just that. And yeah, you're right. I do refer to myself as a walking booth. And I've actually had
Because
people
sorry.
whip out their phones and buy my stuff right in front of me, no booth needed. So
Oh,
that's the
wow, that's
strange and
cool.
wonderful part of that is that I kind of have my own interactive marketing.
And I like that because I did that one time when I went to GeekCon. I was just regular cosplaying. I was giving out Valentine's Day cards with my podcast on it.
That's cool.
And I gave them to the guests and stuff. They like Valentine's Day cards. It's not Valentine's Day. I'm like, everybody
Yes.
needs a little love. Happy Valentine's Day. And I actually had one guest got interested just because of that. Well, I did get him fan art too. It was Clint Howard. And he was like, "Oh, you post a podcast?" I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Oh, write down your email for me. I'm going to contact you." It's been a while, but he's a busy little old man, so you can't blame him. He probably forgot to.
Yeah, that's understandable. But it's so cool to be able to be in person and hand someone something physical that they're gonna take and look at, and then they'll look up all your social media right then and there. It's much different than just, posting something online, which is effective in different ways. I mean, this is, more effective in a different way because it's in person and people are not just looking at your social media. They're meeting the person behind it. They're meeting the person behind the creativity to show that it's, A, legit, and B, it allows you to strike up conversations. You could, talk with the people and you talk about your common interests. And then that sparks a conversation, and then you hand out the flyers, and then you connect with someone. It's networking.
Exactly. And I found it very fascinating with that because it just feels natural in every way. Okay, okay, so what made you want to be a writer?
That's kind of something that chose me. I knew from a very young age that I always loved reading and writing and stories, and I just wanted to make my own. I would read, kids' books as a kid, and I actually thought to myself, I could do better than this. And it kind of stayed with me. It's something that I carried with me. I would read stories and stories that I would love, and maybe stories I didn't love so much. And I thought, what would I do differently? And I was always thinking that way ever since. So writing definitely chose me. I was writing my own stories since I was literate. I would go into my parents' office and I would steal reams of paper that they had, and I would run upstairs to my room and I was like, I got all this paper, and I would just write stories all the time.
That's I relate to that because sometimes I'll be like, I want a sequel, so I'm gonna go write it and stuff, or I do it in drawing form. Cause me, I like to draw more than write. Okay. Let's see. Okay, I'm sorry. What got you interested in horror and mixing it with fairy tales in your writing?
So I'm actually in the horror industry. I'm in the haunted house industry specifically. So I'm a scare actor.
Mhm.
So an actor that acts in haunted houses. And that came a little bit later, actually. I wasn't in that very long. I've only been in that for about 14, 15 years. And so as a scare actor, I was, of course, dressing in costume as a horror character in a specific setting in a haunted house. And I was always coming up with my own characters for the haunted houses because it just kind of came naturally to me. Being a writer coming up with characters for settings, it was easy to be a haunt scare actor and come up with characters for the scenes and for the sets. And so just spending so much time in haunted houses, having worked for so many different haunted houses in my life. I've worked for about 11. Yeah, I've worked for 11 different
11
haunted
years?
houses
Wow.
across 3 states. And so just being in that environment so much, it was really inspiring, and it really prompted me to turn it to my writing because I was able to pinpoint characters and settings so much here. It was so inspiring. I couldn't turn away from that. I was hooked. That's it. I went to the dark side and I'm not going back.
I've been in love with horror ever since I was a teenager. Because when I was a kid, it used to scare the shit out of me, and I used to have nightmares about it and stuff. I couldn't even go into a Spencer around Halloween because I see all the scary masks and stuff, and the kid me would be freaking out. And then I worked my way up in horror when I was in, like, I think it's like maybe the end of my elementary school with Goosebumps, and then I worked my way up to make sure I could see what my tolerance to fear and stuff, and now I just absolutely
Yeah,
love horror movies
me
and
too. I
anything
was the same
horrors.
way. Yeah, I was the same way. I never liked scary movies as a kid. I would see a couple, but it didn't really do anything for me. It wasn't until I was in the haunted house industry as an actor, and I started to appreciate it a lot more than I did when I was younger. And then reading horror stories too. I grew up reading Goosebumps, R.L. Stine, all of those, and of course, gradually graduated to bigger things when I got older, like, Stephen King, of course, and I love Neil Gaiman, and I love Ruth Ware too. She's a very good thriller horror writer. And so when I got older, I definitely appreciated horror movies a lot more, and I look at them through a different perspective.
And I can understand that. Because I remember as a kid, the first movie that scarred me for life was the New Nightmare on Elm Street movie. It was called Wes Craven New Nightmare. Because I remember that one scene. It was in the hospital with the boy coming out of the plastic and vomiting on his mom, and then you just see Freddy coming out with a claw, and the kid me was like, "Oh God, he's after me now!" And I kept having dreams about getting killed by Freddy Krueger when I was a kid, and that now I love Freddy.
Yeah, I love it now. I
Yeah,
build
yeah,
up a you
it's
build up
kind
a
of
tolerance though too when you get older. But I think once you're like in the industry and you see it through an artistic point of view, artistic standpoint, you appreciate the craft that goes behind it, and character development and plot development that comes with horror, because horror is different than any other genre, I think, because
exactly.
Well, what horror does is that it leaves ambiguous endings. It kind of leaves it open, but it also has a way of getting under your skin and staying there. You know, your average happily ever after. Okay, it's over. They live happily ever
Yeah,
after.
yeah.
And then you don't really think about it anymore after that. But with a horror story, may it be a book or a movie, it ends and you still think about it. You still think about, well, did so and so, are they dead? Are they gone? Are they going to come back? What else is going to happen? It didn't end there, and it stays with you.
Yeah, it makes you think like
Hmm.
what actually happened to them. They could have got eaten by the void. The big black void just grabbed them and like, nope, you're coming with me. It's really interesting, and I like horror. And plus, horror movies and stuff. People, and I tend to see this a lot, like how people want essential horror movies and horror books and stuff like that because it's too scary or too gory and stuff. When actually, most of the real life horror is in real life.
Hmm.
That's where horror movies and horror books get their their inspirations from. And people just don't want to admit it, that we are actually living in a horror movie mixed with a lot of comedy, romance, all kinds of genres. Fantasy, maybe fantasy, because maybe there is fairies out there. Who knows? I'm always keep an open mind to everything. I'm very
Right,
spiritual portion and everything.
right. A lot of stories are based on real life. You'll see, based on a true story. I mean, it's not necessarily the entire thing lifted, event by event, word for word, but many times stories are loosely based or inspired by something else, something else that happened in real life. So in my first book, My Soul to Keep, it is actually based on the cult from the 90s called Heaven's Gate. Are you familiar with that?
Heaven's Gate, yes, I am. Let me bring up that book real quick. Let me go get that. It's somewhere in my docs, my Google Docs. Let me
Okay.
get it now. Come on, clone. Thank you. I talked to my computer, as you can see. Well, I'm
Okay.
technically talking to my sister's computer. Okay. Can I squeeze you? Okay, there we go. Is that character Isaac?
Yep, that's him.
Okay. Whoops. Oh no, where did I go? Oh no. Hang on.
It's okay. But
I did apologize for that
no,
because
it's
I'm on
okay.
a totally different computer than my own.
It's okay. Well, anyway, my Soul to Keep is based loosely off of Heaven's Gate, which was a cult from the 90s that believed that when they died, they would be going to another planet to be what was called the level above human. There it is. There it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
So my Soul to Keep is it's a paranormal book. So in a nutshell, it is about a cult, of course, a spiritual group that's at a private boarding school. And what happens
Mm-hmm.
is they are actually being haunted by the ghosts of the dead past cult members that committed ritualistic
Oh.
suicide, believing that they would go to the next level above human. And they stayed behind to haunt the owner and to haunt the previous members to get them to join them.
So basically, the ghosts want them to come join them.
Yes, yes,
Okay.
they do. They're
I mean that.
basically
I'm sorry.
it's okay.
Go on. Go on.
It's okay. So the spirits here are haunting the spiritual group at a boarding school because they, of course, they want them to join them. They made a pact with the professor there, the guy that runs it, and he said he was going to stay behind and recruit more people, and the ghosts are there to make sure that he keeps up the end of his bargain. So they haunt the place, and the main character joins this group because she is interested in the afterlife.
Mm-hmm.
She was going through trauma. She had the death of her father, and she goes to this boarding school as a way to just kind of hone her feelings and express them and just learn about her feelings a little bit more. And she gets wrapped up with this group, and she's interested in them because she thinks they could communicate with the afterlife, and she thinks that she will be able to communicate with her father here, but it's not what she thinks it is at all. And very soon she gets sucked into this cult, and she sees these paranormal things happening, and they're not what she thinks that it is. And so she learns very quickly that it is in fact a cult, and they're not going to let her go.
Yeah. Yeah, that's how usually coasts are. You gotta usually escape from them.
I mean, they prey on the vulnerable, so that's kind of why I
Exactly.
had to take place at a boarding school, so age 13 up, and so the main character is 13, which is very young, but that's when a lot of people are very emotionally vulnerable, and it made sense to make it that way.
Especially teenagers are easily teenagers are very easily to manipulate.
Yes. They have
Agreed.
their periods of own emotional growth, own emotional vulnerability, and so it's really about development in their characters. It's easy to work with. It's perfect to work with.
Exactly. Okay. Okay, let me go see. Okay, hang on. So, okay, my next question is why do you cosplay as your characters at convention like this one, little Isaac here?
Yep, that's little Isaac. Well, as I told you before, it's my way of marketing. So I will go places in character and interact with people in character, and it'll prompt a discussion. People are wondering what is this? Who is this? And I often get, where's this from? So it's not a matter of like, who is this or what? Sometimes people will flat out ask, what is this from? They're expecting to hear a fandom. They're thinking it's maybe a lesser known character from a certain fandom that they've never seen before or they're not familiar with. And so that's what kind of prompts passing out literature and, talking about it a little bit. And it has helped me grow my brand. Um, Probably this is the best thing that I have ever done to promote my brand. I've made a name for myself in many local conventions and different events and things like this. And the cool part is I will often, since I'm local, I stick to local places. I will see like the same people who have in time become fans and have become friends. And I've met other people that dress in costume, other cosplayers and other writers, and we have networked. It's all about networking too. It's about finding your brand and your readership and your audience and learning how to connect with your audience in unique ways. And I think that's something that I've grown a lot in the past couple of years, and I will continue to grow with new projects.
And I like that a lot. I really do because it's different in every way. And there's this one. What's behind that one?
Okay, this one was taken at Spooky Empire. This was at the Christmas show Spooky Empire put on. So the ghost is a ghost, a dead cult member from My Soul to Keep. And pictured is actually one of my friends who just went as like a demon reaper thing. And we just thought we'd take a cool picture together.
That's cool. I love
Yeah.
it. I like
Yeah.
the atmosphere and everything about it. And, and we got this one.
Oh, I love that
I
one.
really like this one.
Yes, I love that one too. This one was taken at MegaCon. And what's funny about it is that, of course, you could tell that that is the fairy godmother from Cinderella.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have my version of Cinderella, Aschenputtel, who doesn't turn into a princess and instead turns into a nasty scarecrow monster. So this picture was funny because I remember going up to the fairy godmother and I was talking to her in character. I was talking to her as Aschenputtel, and I was explaining to her that I made a wish on a tree. I wished to be a princess, and this is what happened. I'm like, what do you think? Am I a princess? Am I beautiful enough? Should I go to the ball and meet the prince? And she was just playing along, and she's trying to wave her wand at me. She's like, oh, my magic isn't working. And I'm like, well, you must go make a wish on the tree then and help it. We just did this whole skit, this whole thing, and it was just hysterical. And afterwards, I did break character a little bit, and I told her who I was, and I handed her a flyer, and she loved the whole thing, and so we had to get a picture together.
And I love it. That's cause I remember seeing that. And I'm like, that is so cute and adorable. And here is the book where your character came from, Mice.
Yep.
So what's that book about?
All right, so Mice, this is the story of my version of Cinderella. Of course, she's known as Aschenputtel in the Brothers Grimm version, the original version. And I took this and I combined it with Three Blind Mice. This is the first mashup that I've done with two classic tales, and I really love how it came together. I think there's no better tale to mash up with Cinderella than Three Blind Mice. because the three blind mice here are actually they're the main characters. They pull the story along. The story is actually told through their perspectives. The three blind mice they're clairvoyant, they're soothsayers. And so one of them tells the past, and one of them tells the present, and one of them tells the future. So basically, I wrote the book through their points of view, and they are
Oh,
giving visions. So Ashnapuddle will see visions of the past, present, and future. And at first, I thought it was kind of a difficult thing to write, because the flow changes constantly. You'd write something that takes place in the present and then have a flashback to the past of something that happens, and then back to the present, showing her reaction to it. Because the whole story is you are seeing the visions as she is seeing them while the story is moving on. So you're seeing her react to things that have happened before or will happen, and then she's going to base her decisions off of those. And that was I made a last minute decision to do it that way because I thought it would be a very cool thing to do, like a very cool read, a very cool way of telling the story, as opposed to just describing every other scene. Aschenputtel picked up the mouse, and the mouse's eyes grew 10 times bigger and showed in her giant visions in their crystal ball eyes. It's like every other paragraph I was doing that, and it just didn't work. That was almost insulting to the reader, I thought. So I just did it this way, and I really love how it turned out. I
it
was
kind
worried
of
it wouldn't make sense, but it does. I've had
it,
people tell me, "Yeah, yeah, it's great. It flows great. I read it and I love the way you did it." And I'm just like, "Oh, like, oh, don't mess this up."
woo. I feel you about that because it kind of remind me of this video game called Life is Strange, where this girl had the power to go back in time and go forward and stuff and everything. And it kind of remind me of those books where you pick your own story. You like, okay, what do you want the characters to do? Turn to this page and stuff like
Oh,
that.
choose your own adventure.
Yeah.
Yes, I had those. I love those.
Would you ever want to do a choose your own adventure book?
I have before.
Oh
I've
yeah,
I've written those as a kid. I
that's
could probably
cool.
do that, but like, I don't know. I might consider it. It's a little different.
It is. It's a lot more complicated too. 'Cause you got to write more than one story too.
Yeah, different endings, different pages are gonna, bring you different places.
Mm-hmm.
I could probably do that. I mean, hey, challenge accepted. Huh? I don't know. I'll put that on the back burner.
And we got this beauty right here. I don't know if people can see it. Let me go move it up. There we go.
Yeah,
So,
this one was fairly recent. This was taken at Ancient City Con in St. Augustine. I was a guest author there. So this is a cult member from My Soul to Keep. My Soul to Keep, actually, I do two different costumes, and none of which are the main character. This is the secondary character. Her name is Iris, and she's like a senior. She's a higher level member. She's a higher level at the school, and she's actually one of the main cult members. And you know, she's kind of mean. She's kind of cold. She's kind of evil in a way. I chose to do her just for that reason because she would make a better costume, I think. And this is what like a cult member would look like, wearing the long dark cloaks, the skirt, the pleated skirt that you see at private schools. She's got long dark hair. And this picture was actually an accident because I remember I was walking back somewhere. I don't know, I went to the bathroom or I got water or something, and there was a light that was up on the ceiling in the hotel, and I walked into it, and someone stopped me and said, "That is the coolest picture ever. You need to take it." So I stopped where I was and I just kind of looked up, and they snapped that photo. And the more I think about it, the more I'm like, that is a cool picture, because it's almost like this cult member is looking up to the sky, This cult member is, looking up for like a spiritual reason. I'm like, this fits this character very well.
I like that. It's like the lighting is just perfect. It's just like shining down onto the character and everything.
Yeah.
Okay. Who is this one? Because I remember I saw this one and I was like, who is she? She seems interesting.
Okay, this one was from a short story that I did in an anthology. the anthology was called 13 Night Terrors. So it just featured 13 authors with different stories. And so this was one of the four that I did. And I believe that the theme was urban legends. They all had different themes. And so this one was urban legends. And I chose the Japanese urban legend of the Slipmouth Woman. So pictured here is the Slipmouth Woman. And what she was is she was a woman who was found cheating on her husband. The husband slashed her mouth up and said, "You're not beautiful anymore." And so her spirit roams Japan, and she wears a mask over her face, and she'll go up to people and she'll say, "Am I pretty?" And if they say yes or no, she'll take the mask off and reveal her cut out mouth and say, "Well, am I pretty now?" And then she will cut your mouth too to match hers, depending
Jesus.
on what your answer is. And I have to laugh about this. I have to laugh about this for a reason. And I had this character had a mask, and
Mhm.
I did this way before 2020 happened. And so when 2020 happened, I'm like, I should dig this one up and use it again. But at that point, we were all so sick and tired of wearing masks that I couldn't do the reveal even if I wanted to, because I would have
Yeah.
had to keep the mask on.
Yeah, it'd be like a mask underneath another mask.
Yeah, yeah. So I had no idea that facial mask would come in handy later, even though it was covered in blood.
Hey, it works out.
Yeah.
Okay. Where this guy came from? He's a little kind of remind me of a Christmas guy, like a Christmas character you see in a Christmas film.
Yep, that one comes from another anthology that I did. So that anthology was called Carnival of Fear. And so it had to feature, carnivals, circuses, sideshow creatures. And so this is Batoni, and he was a puppet who was brought to life via an evil spirit. And when he got too evil, his master tried to kill him and left him for dead, thinking he was dead. And so he actually goes on a murder spree for revenge to go find the master and kill him for trying to kill him and everything. And his two little buddies there, Destra and Sinistra, his little puppets, they kind of help him because he's weakened. He got in a fight. He's got a scissors in his stomach and he can't really move very well. So those little guys help him move along. And this photo was taken at Spooky Empire when I won Best Craftsmanship in the costume contest.
I mean, I could see you deserve the award and everything because I'm
Oh,
like,
thank you.
you're welcome. Okay, it looks very handmade. It looks like you put a lot of work into it.
Yeah, I did. There was just there was a time where I had a lot of free time, and yeah, there he is. Aw.
Got a little different photo.
He was originally a haunted house character too, that I liked him so much I had to use him in a story. And so I wrote the story, Batoni, that was published in Carnival of Fear a couple of years later.
So you pretty much do you like come up with the characters first and then work your story around them?
Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes I do. Like sometimes I'll have an idea of a story in my head and I don't know what to do with it, and then I'll come up with a character later. Other times I'll be, thinking of costuming like I do with haunted houses, and I'll come up with a character I really like, and then I have to center a story around it. I guess it really depends. So, Batone came into the world before the story because I had him at a haunted house. And so then I just made a story around him because I wanted to promote him in different ways. I used to promote him for the haunted house first, and then later I promoted him for the anthology collection. And that was the year I went to Spooky Empire with him, and I won Best Craftsmanship that year. It was
I'm
great.
happy you did. Okay,
Me too.
honestly, I'll be like, yeah, that one got my vote. Definitely gonna win. Okay, let me see if I can get out of this. Can I get out? Okay, there we go. Okay, let me go to the next question, and here's another one. I think we already seen him before. Yeah. Okay, hang on. Okay. Okay, let me go put this down for a bit. Okay. So on my next question, which character is your favorite to cosplay as?
I think it's gonna be whatever my most recent book is, because I'm always the most excited about it. I have had a lot of fun doing Aschenputtel because everyone knows what Cinderella is. So they're gonna look at her and they're gonna think, okay, what is that? Like, it's Cinderella is a scarecrow. So it's a lot easier to interact with people that way because they already know what it is.
Let me go find it.
Another one, yeah. Yeah,
There
yeah,
she is.
there she is.
There
There she
she
is.
is.
There she
Little
is, and she's
Ashton
made of
Cheeto.
little mouse. Mm-hmm.
Got the little mice and the ravens and everything.
Yeah, you
Because
bet. I modeled
I
this
love
after her Cinderella's ball gown. I mean, everyone knows what that is. She's got like the hair in the bun. She's got the blue headband. She's got the long blue gloves and the blue gown. So basically, I found plaid in that color, and I made it into like a scarecrow's like a farm girl ball gown that a scarecrow would wear. And I cut holes in it, and I got straw sticking out everywhere. And as you could see, there's the orange parts of there are those are flames.
I
Those are
was
fire.
wondering about that because I was like,
Mhm.
because I didn't know how to draw that in the thumbnail, so I was like, kind of left that out and
No, no,
just
no.
did it instead.
That's okay because she actually develops elemental powers as she progresses, and so she could breathe fire.
That's so that is fucking cool.
Well, what's funny about it is that her name is, Aschenputtel,
Hmm.
which literally in German translates to one who cleans the ashes. And
Yeah.
so that is exactly what Aschenputtel does with her victims. She'll burn them alive and then she'll clean up the ashes by drinking them,
Wow.
eating, consuming them.
Wow.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm probably gonna definitely check out your books because this is. I mean, if you have audiobooks, that'd be awesome too. Because I get done with them fast because I'm just listening like everywhere I go. I'm like, let me
I
go
have
get my
paper book
book.
and e-back for now.
Ah.
Yeah, I don't have audiobook yet. I have had many people ask me about that. That's a whole different project on the line.
Oh
That's not
yeah, it
an
is.
easy
Because
fix, I'm afraid.
it's like voice acting and stuff. Or you can just have someone go like blah 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 blah. I mean, I'm just like put some character, put some emotion in it, make me feel like I want to listen to the story.
Hmm.
Like them old timey broadcast radio show, they like to do little soap operas and stuff, and you just get into it and like, ooh, I wonder what's gonna happen to Marianne. Marianne just fell down a well. I need to know what happens next. Because I remember there was one radio show. Someone did a narration of War of the Wars, and a couple people thought they were getting invaded by aliens. Just how good the acting was.
Oh, yes. Yeah, Orson Welles did that on the
Yes,
radio. Hmm.
and that I was like, that's how I want be. I want to feel like I'm actually in there and everything. And we got this one.
Hmm.
That's one of the cult members.
Yep, that's the ghost. And this was the first version I made of this. I actually put at least 150 layers of glow in the dark paint on that
Wow.
cloak so that when I entered costume contests, I would go up on stage and I would glow in the dark. And that worked very well. Actually, I placed second with this one. I can't remember the convention off the top of my head. I went to several, but this I won second place, and I glowed in the dark, and that was very cool. I liked that. The problem was with that cloak having so many layers of paint on it. Over time it became very stiff, very difficult to wear,
Oh
very
yeah.
very difficult to move in. So I had to scrap it just for a nice, loose, comfortable, soft one made of regular cloth, so I could actually move and sit in it because
I
literally it was
mean, I
hard. It was
understand.
stiff.
I'm sorry, because I
Yeah.
understand that as a cosplayer myself. Comfort is better because you're moving around a lot and stuff. Because I completely understand that.
Yeah, and it was heavy. Even when I would put it on my head and it would sit there, I would literally walk around with it all day, just like weighing down on me. So eventually it was very uncomfortable and it hurt my neck. It hurt my shoulders a lot. I mean, as cool as it was, I'm glad I got to showcase it and get some cool shots, but it's like, I got to make a new one, and I had to go get some more tulle too.
I
That's
mean,
that's all tulle in front of me. Mhm.
I understand that completely, and plus that cape was probably giving you a headache too.
Yeah, it did. Big time.
Okay. Whoops. This guy here, I don't know. What book is he from?
Well, that is my version of Mary Had a Little Lamb. So that
Okay.
is Mary, and that is her lamb. And this is my version of Mary Had a Little Lamb, where she is actually the Antichrist. She's the
Oh.
spawn of Satan. She's born to do a deed, and the lamb is her little hell beast that does all of the dirty work for her. And so this is another fun one that I have enjoyed doing very much. It's not one I do often at all because it's very difficult.
Oh
That
yeah.
lamb right there is my prop. I roll him around on wheels. He's very heavy, so it takes a lot of effort, a lot of work. But I don't know if you could see. I don't know if you could see in the photo there, but I have a prosthetic over my mouth.
Yes, I do see. We can get a close up of that so people can
Hmm.
see right there, folks.
Hmm. Yes. So in the book, Mary was born with her mouth at the back of her head, and I actually
Oh.
have a pair of latex lips that I glued onto the wig because it was that she didn't speak to anyone but the devil himself,
Oh
or the
wow.
lamb, or the lamb. She only spoke to the devil and to the lamb, and when her mouth would move in the back of their head, no one could hear her voice except for the lamb. And so she would give him orders. She'd say, "Lamb, sick 'em," or "Lamb, kill," or "Lamb, attack," and he would hear her, and then he would do as she said. So everything that Mary commanded, the lamb was sure to do. So, well, doing this one in conventions is always fun, obviously, because people are going to see this right away and they're curious. They
Mm-hmm.
automatically know that it's Mary and the Lamb, an evil Mary had a little lamb, and so that prompts me to hand out flyers. Now, since I have the prosthetic over my mouth, I couldn't talk. I could
Yeah.
never talk, which was very, very enjoyable. I love like gesturing to people. I could be in character a little bit more with this one and just be creepy and just be a creepy, freaky presence and just scare the hell out of people, which was way too easy and way too enjoyable. But since people love this kind of stuff, they approach me a lot more with this one than they do anything else. I would stand somewhere and people would line up with their phones, with their cameras, and take pictures, and they would try to talk to me, and then I would just hand out flyers and just give it to them. And it's just, here you go. Here's what this is. Here's what it's from. And I would connect with them later and talk with them later and explain that that was me. And that was it. It was just so funny. They just,
Wow.
yeah. And the funny thing is too, I'm actually very short. So
I
I
mean,
could
yeah, you
pass
could pass
as
as
a
a
child.
child.
So I could pass as a child. I've had people believe I was actually a child at these shows, walking
Wow.
around with my lammy. And they're like, "Where are your parents?" And I would just kind of stare at them like, I can't really tell you, but, or sometimes I would do this. This is very easy. Everyone gets that. Or I would just like point at them, or I would pat the lamb on the head and I would pretend to talk to them. And people are just like, not, they were really, they didn't know what to think. They're not really sure how to take that.
Because you're definitely in character the whole time, so people don't know how to react to it and stuff. Me, I try to do that in cons and stuff, but I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. I have to break character. I'm sorry. If you're uncomfortable with that, that's okay. I'm sorry about that.
Hmm.
I remember one time I was at a Halloween party. I was dressed up as a female version of Jeepers Creeple. I was dressed as the Creeple from Jeepers Creeples. And I actually went up to a guy and sniffed him. And he's like, whoa, whoa, I'm too drunk for this. And I'm like, oh God, I'm sorry. I would not do that again. I broke character real quick. Because I could have got punched if I didn't know what the reaction was.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to be careful with that. Um, Something to see. Because I didn't know this was like maybe have Lil Lamb because I thought that was a boy. That
Yeah.
what you
That one
don't
also is
understand.
one of my favorites. And like I said, I don't do it too often because the lamb he's very difficult to move around. I have since added some more wheels to him on the bottom, but he's kind of heavy and he's actually in pieces. He's in two pieces. For those wondering, this is a taxidermy foam form that I
So,
got online, and I got some craft fur. But the wool around his torso is real lamb wool that I
wow.
got. Yeah, it was worth it. I wanted it to look as real as possible, and it came from Poland.
Oh
So I
wow.
it came with like this like it came with like this like brochure, like this sheet about what it was, and it was written in Polish. And I was just like,
Oh
oh, this
wow.
is so cool. I'm like, this is legit. And it actually smelled like an animal when I got it. And
So was it like a real taxidermy sheep?
well, the form right there, the lamb is a foam form that the taxidermists use when they put the fur over it, like on displays and stuff. So
Wow.
I just took that and I covered it in the wool and the fur. And I had some help with this, of course. My former haunt boss helped me cut it in half and make it, mobile for me to bring to places. And then we molded, teeth out of it and an eye and everything. And I made the blood out of hot glue, and he has more blood on him now. He's got a little
Wow.
bit more. I've added a
Wow.
little bit more to him. I think next time I bring him out, it's got to be someplace that's just easy to move around, like in a hotel, and then I could just move him different places. But most of the time, if I do an event and I bring him with me, I will have a table. If I'm a guest at a convention and I'm selling and signing books, I will just bring him and I will just park him behind my table the whole time. I've done that before. It's the best thing to do with him, honestly. Moving him around takes a lot of work, but I have done it and I probably could do it again if I wanted to, just because he's so fun to bring out. He's so cool.
I mean, I think it's cool. Let me get that book that we were talking about. Let me go find it in my photos. I know it's somewhere in here. No, that's my soul to keep. There it is.
Mm-hmm.
The Lamb was sure to go. So it's pretty much just a satanic little Mary had a little lamb.
Right. I like to tell people it's Mary Had a Little Lamb as the omen. It's the easiest way to describe it to get them to understand it. It's just paying homage to a classic. It's a story that we all know, and many different variations of it exist. And so I just wanted to have my own spin on it.
And I like that because it's just so it's different. And then again, I like darker stuff and things because I just like that. I like mixing. Like, I mean, I'm excited for this new Grinch movie, even though it's called the Mean One because it's parody and stuff. Don't want to get sued by Universal Studios. But mainly, I'm going to see it because it had my actor David Howard Thornton in it, and he's playing the Grinch. Well, the
Oh,
Mean One,
okay.
and
I could see that.
yeah. I was like, I mainly just going to see it to him, but even though I saw the trailer, it kind of like a sci-fi production, and I'm like, oh no.
Yeah, kind of. But he played Art the Clown so
I
well. I
know,
can
I
see him
love it.
doing the Grinch. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that one, I'm like, I'm mainly going to see him. I don't care how bad this film is. I'm mainly going to see him. I want to see him play the Grinch. And I'm kind of excited about that. Okay. Here's Isaac. So, where did Isaac come from?
All right, so this guy right here is from Little Dog Laughed. And this is my original vampire story based on Hey Diddle Diddle. It doesn't make sense, but I promise you it does. So let me just kind of explain Isaac and what's going on with him. So as you can see, he's wearing a dog mask,
Mm.
dog face. So in the book, that is his stuffed animal. And his stuffed animals represent his personality. So he's got his little stuffed dog and he's got his little stuffed cat. And they're kind of like the angel on one shoulder and the demon on the other. So they represent the good and bad parts of his personality. So the little dog represents the bad side of his personality, and that one eventually becomes the dominant one. So what happens is he rips off the stuffed animal face and wears it on his own as symbolism of that taking over, of that side of him taking over.
So, it's like the evil side is taking over him.
Right. And so he wears that persona as his face. So it's his stuffed animal. So hence the little dog laughed.
And I believe there's a note killed in the little dog's laugh. I believe. This one. This lady right here.
Yep, that would be Felicity. And Felicity is Isaac's mom. She is in Little Dog Laughed. So basically, Isaac is a secret. So Felicity is a young mom that marries into a very rich family. And she has a son at age 16. And she does not want them to know about him. She's afraid that they will not accept her and that they will shun her, so she hides him in the house. She hides him his whole life.
Oh, jeez.
She's absolutely deathly afraid of them finding out that she had a son at a young age. And the thing about this family is that they're very, very wealthy socialites, but they're also vampires,
Mhm.
which is just like a second thing. Like, no one really cares about it. It's just a thing.
Or
But
like
the thing is, Isaac, she's trying to figure out what to do with him. She's like, should I tell the family? Should I send him away somewhere? What do I do? She eventually comes to the realization that Isaac has a very rare blood type that
mhm.
the family craves. So
Oh.
she literally raises her son to be a blood donor
Oh,
without
no.
telling them. Yes, without telling the family. So he is a blood source for them and they don't know it. Of course, things escalate and get worse and worse as Isaac grows up, grows older, his bad side takes over, and the rest is history.
Wow, he probably killed them vampires. Probably, that's what I'm guessing. I don't know. I haven't read the book. But let me go find that book. I just passed it. That's Isaac. Well, hang on. Well, Tipple.
It's got the vampire teeth, if that
Yeah.
helps. Hmm.
Find it. Ah, there it
There
is.
it is. That's it.
And this is the book, The Little Dog's Laugh.
hmm That's
And
it.
where people can find your books?
They're on Amazon.
On
All on
Amazon?
Amazon. There are some other online places too, but Amazon is the easiest. You can get it as a paperback or as ebook. And I'm also on Kindle Unlimited.
Okay, let me do a panel. You can find it on Amazon. Do you have a personal website that people can go to?
Mm-hmm. Yep, my name,
What's that?
www.jackiesonnenberg.com.
www.jackie. Let me go put that up. People can find you and everything. Sunborn.com?
Yep, jackiesonnenberg.com.
Gotcha. Okay, scroll across the tickle. Yes. Add panel. And I'm gonna scroll. There we are. Wonder why it's not scrolling. I know what I do. Okay, there's the site. That's where you can find all the books and everything, y'all. On the personal website, Jackie Sunborn, or Amazon under the exact same name as well.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay, let me go get this other stuff out of the way. Okay. So, what do your friends and family think of your books? And do they support you in every way?
Oh yeah, of course they do. They friends, family have always known that I was a writer. And I was always writing stories, making up stories, So like when I started publishing various stories and novels, they were always very supportive. And even if it wasn't a book that they personally would like to read, it it never mattered, and it never will matter. I'm not someone that's going to be like, you have to like every single thing that I do, because you don't. Not a lot of people write horror, but they're happy for me. They're happy that I found a calling of something that I really, really enjoy. And that's just how it is. That's how it goes. And the funny thing about friends is that I have friends that have become readers, but more importantly, I've had readers that have become friends.
Oh,
So I've met
wow.
people. Yeah, I think that's the best part, because I go to all these events and I go to all these conventions and I meet people, I interact with them, and they find me on social media. They buy my books, they like them, they enjoy them. They come to my signings, and when you keep seeing the same people at various events, because I'm involved in a lot of communities and we all go to the same events, it's really wonderful to see all the same people and to have that community, and then you bond with them, you grow with them so much that they eventually become your friends, and they're people that you see in real life or whatever, you see outside of things, and you socialize and you do other things together, and they get to know you personally too. It's so funny. So, and I still get this, but I will interact with people and socialize with people, as me,
Mhm.
as myself. But anytime I've, seen people outside of shows and conventions, I've had people tell me that they had no idea what I looked like because I'm always in costume. And I remember I went to it was some like birthday gathering for someone. We all met somewhere, and I went just as me, like normal. I walk in and I start, "Hey, how you doing?" Talking to people that I have seen before, but they've never seen me before. They've never actually met me, and I kind of met their blank stares. And they just
They're
kind of
like,
looked at me, but they're like, "Oh, Jackie," because honestly, it's my size that gives it away every time.
and how
It's
tall
it's
are
it's
you?
my size. I'm 4'9".
Wow.
Yeah, like, that's why I told you I still pass as a kid, and it's always hysterical. But
Do,
no, when I meet people
do
outside
you?
of costume, it takes them, like, a minute before they realize it's me, and my voice gives it away too sometimes. If I don't
Okay.
use a different voice or whatever, they'll just kinda put 2 and 2 together and figure it out. But
And
what's also funny about that is if I ever do a new costume, I have a harder time hiding it from people who know me because of my size.
oh no.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of hoping they don't just, you know, find people my size, kids my size, and think that they're me or
Oh
anything.
no. Be
I'm
like,
just like, well,
Mom, help! Some strangers say I'm Jackie, but I'm not. Help me,
right,
Mom.
right. I'd go up to people and that I know, and I'd screw with them a little bit. I'd mess with them a little bit, and some people wouldn't get it. They would believe I was somebody else, and other people would be like, "Jackie?" I'm just like, "Damn it. No, I'm
I
not.
mean,
How do
you
you
could.
know?"
I mean, you could get platform shoes.
I could, but it would ruin the fun.
Do you always get like ID'd when you're trying to buy alcohol or trying to go to like a venue that's 21 plus?
I think it depends what I'm, like, wearing. I think if we go to, like, a bar or, like, have after hours at conventions, I would normally change. The only exception was Felicity, because she's dressed to the nines and she's fabulous socialite, and I think that's the only outfit that I have that I actually look not only my age but older and adult like, I
And
guess that's a word.
how old are you?
I'm 38.
Wow, I would not know that. I saw you like around my age, which I'm
Yep.
getting there. I'm almost 30. I'm 28, y'all.
Welcome to
Don't
the
look.
well,
Yeah,
almost
I don't.
there.
I mean, I don't look like it, but thank you
No,
to my Janet, to
dirty
my Jeanette.
30s, they're coming.
Oh yeah, it's coming around the corner and everything. And I see we got a comment from my old co-host Michael. He said, "Hey." He has joined the interview. Hello, Michael. We missed you. You can
Hi,
always come
Michael.
back on my show if you want to. But I gotta add you since I finally got my own account. Yeah, I have to pay the bills now.
Hi, Michael. Thanks for tuning in.
Thank you, Michael. You're always gonna be my number one supporter, no matter what. He's been here since the beginning, since the very first episode. Because I remember when I came up to him with the idea. Well, rewind. It all started when I was watching his podcast when he was doing with Jess, our friend Jess. They were doing the live stream of consciousness, which is a very spiritual podcast where it explores on spirituality and everything. And I drew a fan art of him and Jess with the little podcast and everything. And me and Michael bonded over the fan art and we became friends because of that. And we became friends because we both knew Jess.
Mm-hmm.
And with the whole time, so I came to him one day and I asked him, "Hey, I want to do a podcast like y'all, except I want to interview people that are strange and well, at first I said strange and unusual, like different people with different lifestyle, people that did the doll vacations, and people that in relationship with dolls and modification and all that wonderful stuff that's fit in this subject of strange and wonderful, what strange and unusual." And he's like, "I like that idea, but I want to change one thing about it." I was like, "What? What do you want to change?" He's like, "Change strange and unusual to strange and wonderful, since you want people to feel welcome to the show and everything." And I was like, I like that a lot because that's how I did the show is to show other people like, hey, you're not alone. There's people like you out here in every way. And that's how the show Strange and Wonderful happened. And now he's been letting me go solo because he had so many other projects he had to do and everything. But he's always welcome back. He's always going to be my co-host if you want to come back. Okay, let me go to that. Yeah, I just pretty much have this war vomit there. Whoops. Oh well. This is a podcast for a reason. So let me see what else. There's Ashram Kish. I almost call it Ashram Kesham. When we get her up. Okay, there she is.
There she is.
That is a beautiful photo.
Yeah, that wasn't taken on site. That was Photoshop. Someone did that for me.
Oh, that's nice. That's really
Yeah,
nice.
unfortunately, I did not just wander into a cornfields during a lightning storm. No, it's not a
No,
good idea. It's not a good idea.
That's not a good idea.
No, it's not. But it's a cool photo, and I'm really happy someone made that. And I love your drawing. I can't believe that. I can't believe you did that.
You're welcome. I
Oh man,
always draw my thumbnails. It's a
gang's
lot of
all
work
here.
there. That's why I'm always coming behind because I'm like, gotta get the thumbnail finished. Yeah, that's all you and your character. Me, originally, I thought this was you. I didn't know that was a character.
Which one? Felicity?
No,
The blonde girl?
The black one.
Oh, that one. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's probably the most accurate, the one that looks like me the most because I don't wear a wig.
Because I thought
I just
that
wear
was you,
contacts.
and that's why I'm like, oh, I'm gonna put her in the center since I wore. But the whole time I was like, oh, that's a character.
It's okay.
Well,
Close enough. I look like that sometimes. I wear all black. I just don't have green eyes. That's it.
Yeah, I didn't know what color eyes I should do. So I did a mixture of gray and blue.
Mm-hmm.
If I can go closer. Come on. What? No, don't comment. Okay, well. But yeah, it's right here. I don't know if y'all can see it. A little gray and blue. I've mixed those up. Oh, there it is. There we go. See? That's the eyes. I did a mixture of gray and blue and everything.
Yeah, not bad.
Thank you. I've been
Not bad
drawing
at all.
since
I love fan art.
I've been drawing since I was 3. And here's the Coke Girl. The Coke Girl has a name.
No, this is just a generic ghost. I love doing ghosts. It's like I became obsessed with ghosts and doing grayscale, and so I just did a ghost for this one, and I got a candle that lit up, that glowed, and I would just carry that around with me. And this is the very, very first version I ever did with this because I wanted to play around with grayscale. I do makeup and costuming, and so I wanted to experiment with grayscale makeup colors. And I did the cloak by itself. This was before I added the glow in the dark paint, and this is before I added the tulle. And the tulle is my favorite part of it because it adds to it. It makes the ghost look like a ghost, like sort of like pixelated almost, and almost distorted. I really like that look.
Me too. I like it too. It's kind of like fairy tale like in a way.
Yeah, this one. Let me think. It's okay. This one actually was taken by Orlando Weekly when they came by Spooky Empire, and they just did like a little slideshow of all the cosplayers that were there, and I made it into that issue, and then I had them just kind of do like at Spooky Empire so that they could so everyone was in it and everyone could see that. So this was included with the photos taken for Orlando. I think it was Orlando Weekly. But I said, yeah, I think that was it.
So cool. I've been featuring like a couple articles with my cosplay and everything. I can relate. And there's Felicity.
There's the vampire lady.
With Pennywise the Clown, and she's from a new horror movie. I can't remember. It's some Mexican legend.
Oh, La Llorona.
Yes, that one.
Okay. I didn't get to see that one yet. I do love dressing up like her, though, too. She almost gave me an excuse to look fabulous. And the funny thing is the the fangs. I had the fangs custom made
Oh,
because
wow.
Felicity, when she marries into the vampire family, of course, and then she
Yeah.
becomes sired and she becomes a vampire herself. So she's very young blood, very new blood, so to speak, and so she has to control her urges to drink
Uh,
blood. Now this came out in 2020, which was probably the worst timing ever,
oh, yeah.
ever, because I had custom fangs made. Yes, I
Oh.
had custom fangs made by Horror Show Jack, and the guy that runs it is a dentist, and so he had, I made a mold of my teeth, and we sent it over, and he had fangs customized to fit my teeth, and I was all ready to, showcase this new costume with this new book, but then COVID hit, and
Mhm.
I couldn't do that at all. I had a Barnes and Noble signing planned and
Oh, yeah.
scheduled that got canceled, and then I couldn't even do this character because we had to wear masks and I couldn't showcase the most important part of her, which was her mouth, which was, her fangs. So I couldn't do this one. I had to wait. It was horrible.
They do make quill masks now. They're
Yeah, I
like
know.
plastic too.
It
They didn't
wasn't
come out
really
till
a thought.
later.
Yeah, it wasn't even the thought at the time. It was just no, no, no vampire lady.
Yeah.
No, she wouldn't wear a mask.
Because with me, I did my Captain Howdy cosplay one year for GeekCon, and it was all nothing but piercings and tattoos on the face and everything. And they
Mhm.
said, "Oh, you gotta wear a mask," and I was like, I was at first not gonna do it, and then I'm like, wait a second, they got quill mask. I just put the mask on, and everybody saw that was my face. I'm like, no, it's a mask. And one time I ended up scaring one lady at a booth because my mask popped off, and the lady's like, "Oh my god, I thought your face fell off." I'm like, "No, it's just my shield popped off." I remember one time my boyfriend was wearing a shield mask, and one lady, she was security guard, and she's like, "So you gotta wear a mask," and he's like, "I am wearing a mask," and she looked up close, like, "Oh yeah, you are wearing a mask," and this is you at your little booth.
Yep, that's at Ancient City Con. That was in September, so that was fairly recent. And that was at, yeah, that was Iris, and I'm at my booth with my books, and I have um, a little banner in the background that they made for the guests, and the banner is of featuring me as Aschenputtel with mice because it was the most recent.
I think I can see it. Let me see. Get a little up close.
Yep, there it is.
You can see it right there.
Yeah, I still have that banner. I've got
Do
that
you
one. I've
have?
got another one too.
Oh, that's cool. Do you like? So how do you get to these cons and stuff? Do they just email you and be like, "Hey, would you like to come be a guest at a con?"
Yeah, actually, sometimes I have actually gotten that before. I've gotten emails from someone I've never met, from something I've never heard of that said, "Hey, we're doing this thing," and they'll provide email address and they'll provide a website and social media info and says, "We're doing this thing. Would you like to come be a guest?" And I'll check it out. I'll look into it and I'll ask people if they know anything about it, and then I'll find out good things and then I'll go. Or oftentimes though, I'll just be at a convention and I'll just see people there or meet people there and find out about conventions through them. Or I'll meet people that are running conventions at other conventions that'll talk to me about other ones and then I'll just go to them there. But yeah, this community allows that. It's a lot of networking as I mentioned before. So it's like once you go to one, you're very likely to go to others and you just find out about the various ones that happen and then you'll just go. And they all kind of I wouldn't say they all kind of like come together or merge together or anything like that, but in a way they do because I've been kind of branching out a
Mhm.
little bit. I will go to most of them in Orlando, a lot of them in Tampa, and then St. Augustine has Ancient City Con, so that's kind of a newer one for me. But even St. Augustine, there were people there that I knew. Like I was like thinking, okay, I'm gonna go to like a brand new
Oh,
con.
cool.
I'm not gonna know anybody. It'll be cool and I'll still see people I know there. And it's probably the best feeling ever. Like I could probably go to a convention in, Atlanta or something and still see people I know there. That's almost a guarantee. I'm never alone at these things, and it's the best part.
I mean, you can always come to GeekCon.
Where's
GeekCon
GeekCon?
it is a local convention in Shreveport, Louisiana, and
Oh,
it's open around in August.
oh wow.
Yeah, I can always send you links about it and everything.
Yeah, traveling is a little challenging, but I'm starting to branch my horizons a little bit. Like I'm considering Jacksonville's not that far for me, and Atlanta too. I really need to do that more. But going to shows and having this community at your side really helps.
This Texas film. There's a Texas convention. They usually have it in Dallas or Grapevine. Uh, Texas film. It's a horror convention,
Hmm.
and it's lovely. And I always wanted to go.
Hmm.
I really want to go to that one. That was so cool. And here's Isaac again without the
Hmm.
mask.
Yep. Spoiler alert: he becomes sired. Oops,
He become what?
sired. Well, turned into a vampire.
Oh wow.
Well, Felicity. Remember how I said that she was new blood and she had a hard time controlling it,
Yeah.
and that she basically raises Isaac to be a blood donor?
Uh-huh.
Well, sometimes Felicity likes to drink it fresh from the tab.
Nah.
And one time she accidentally, um, I guess, spit some of it back and gave him some of her blood,
Mhm.
and he turns as well.
Oh
So
wow.
Isaac's bad side comes out to play, and he becomes his new self. So
Oh wow.
Isaac becomes a little vamp on the run.
Oh wow. Man, I
Yeah.
definitely need to read your books. This is amazing. Okay, I think we looked at all the photos we have. Yeah, we looked at all the photos. And that is all. Okay, let me go close this out. Okay, so I have back to my questions. I have seen you been featured at a Barnes and Noble. Tell me your experience with that and how did it help you embrace being an author more?
I think that's every author's dream. Like every single one says, I gotta go to Barnes and Noble. I gotta be at Barnes and Noble. And it's possible, of course, depending on the stores and everything. Some
Yeah.
smaller stores are more likely to do signings than larger ones. And so the store that
Mm-hmm.
I went to was a smaller one. And what happens is the manager ordered my books. So they ordered my books, they had them there at the store, and we had like an author signing there were a couple of us there, so it was an event.
Mm-hmm.
So, we went with our stuff and we had a signing there and they had signs up everywhere for that. And the really cool part was that any leftover books we didn't sell, they kept for the store, and they had like a little section where it's like local authors that they put our stash, and then they put stickers on them that said autographed copy. So they had
Oh
to sign
wow.
all of them and then we kept them there. Yeah, so we did that. It really depends on the store, like I said. Now, most of them aren't just gonna like have them there in stock. Many of them right now,
Oh
most of
yeah.
them, like 95%, will just order them. Will have books ordered. Shelf space is,
Yeah.
very, very limited, and shelf time is very limited too. Like even if you had stuff on the shelves at Barnes Noble, it'll only be there for like a week before it's moved in
Oh
the
yeah.
back somewhere, and then they'll make room for other stuff. So like it's possible. It just really depends on like the store and like the manager and everything.
That's completely understandable and I hate how that is, but capitalism. You gotta make a profit.
Yeah, I mean, the bigger chain stores are they're a lot more, I hate to say it, anal than others.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's true. But I am in bookstores. I'm currently in, let's see, I'm in some local places, like I'm in Gods and Monsters. I'm gonna be in another one too coming up shortly. I'm in Inkling's Bookshop. It's a small store in the area. Um, I used to be in Book Warehouse until the store closed. But yeah, I was
Oh,
there.
sad day for a bookstore. So,
Yeah.
on to my other questions. What is something you will not write about? Or are you open to writing on anything?
I don't know. I don't think I have like a list of things that I don't like or topics I don't like. I tend to stray away from romance or anything like that. Like I don't think I could get very graphic with a sex scene or anything like that because quite frankly, it's not going to happen in my stories. That's not the central focus. I mean, that doesn't mean romance is going to be dead. I
Yeah.
mean, we have a romance in Little Dog Laughed, kind of. We have a marriage, husband and wife, they love each other, but the central focus is not necessarily their relationship. What happens between them happens between the pages. And it's their business, no one else's. So I think I stick to what I know. I
Mhm.
stick to the central themes of the story, and I stick to the same topics and everything.
And so you wouldn't be interested in buying like a erotica or anything like that?
No, that's
No.
that's just not, yeah, that just doesn't interest me to read it, so I won't be interested in writing it. And I think that speaks for all authors. I
Yeah,
think
and
you
it's
read what you
I'm sorry.
write. I think you read what you like to write and you write what you like to read. You know your audience
Exactly.
and you stick to it.
And me, I find that completely understandable because you do what makes you comfortable and everything.
Yeah, I've gotten that before. I've had people ask, "Oh, or do you have anything?" Especially when they want to buy it for like teenager teen
Hmm.
readers, because I write young adult mainly, and so someone will ask me, "Is this book appropriate for like
Yeah.
my 12-year-old?" And I'll be real with them. I'll say, "Hey, my soul to keep. There's like a party scene where some of the characters drink, and there's a couple f-bombs, but that's it. That's all there's in there." And I had a mom ask me, "Is there sex in here?" And I said, "No, there is not." I'll be honest.
She'd be like, good. Because that's what they mainly
Yeah.
focus on is the sex scenes and stuff like that. Then
Yeah.
again, my mom and dad pretty much let me read anything. And I
Hmm.
actually read like Victorian erotica books in classrooms and everything. I even read
Hmm.
like Anne Rice, Sleeping Beauty. I even read 50 Shades of Grey. 50 Shades of Grey was a disappointment to me.
Yeah, I'll if it's in the book, I'll read it. Like it doesn't bother me. I mean, sure, it's part of the story. Like I've read Flowers in the Attic.
Oh yeah.
I've read some other things. I've read Verity. I've read Gregory Maguire. I've read a lot of like graphic scenes. It's not something that I would put into my stories. It's not where the focus is, like I said.
Exactly. And then you shouldn't feel ashamed not buying those things because it's your story, it's your book. You can do whatever you want. Like me,
Right.
I'm comfortable buying sex scenes and stuff like that and disturbing shit. Because it's what makes me feel comfortable and everything. And
Hmm.
that's what I like about people because I want them to feel comfortable. I don't want them to feel, oh, they had to be forced to write this and stuff. But no, do what makes you comfortable.
I know it's so funny you mentioned that because it's like not something I think about. I will literally just like write the story and then that'll be it. And what's in it, it's in it. It never occurs to me to, include anything in it that would be graphic like that.
Yeah.
Except maybe a graphic death, like,
Yeah. Yeah.
a little lamb ripping out someone's throat. It's fine. That's normal.
I mean, hey, it's family friendly. Yeah. Okay, I need to
Sure.
stop. Maybe. To some people, I mean, have you seen the Bible? Okay. What author inspire you?
Currently, like, so I'm a fan of Neil Gaiman, big
Mhm.
time. Like I was always a fan of Neil Gaiman. Coraline is actually a book by Neil
Mhm.
Gaiman. Not a lot of people know that. It's based off of his book. My favorite thing about Neil Gaiman is that he is the master of show don't tell. Like he just hooks you in and keeps you there. You have no idea what's going on. And the only way to get an answer to your questions is to keep reading. Honestly, he has a way of describing something that is just so surreal and so strange, and it just makes you want more. I love his storytelling. I always will. I'm also a fan of Ruth Ware. She is an Irish writer. She writes thrillers. So they're like mystery thrillers. But my favorite thing about her is that she keeps you guessing. Usually, when I read mysteries, I figure them out like right away. And it kind of kills the story for me because, what's the point of getting into the story if I already know how it's going to end? But with Ruth Ware, she surprises me. I will have absolutely no idea what's going on, and it'll make me so angry because I want to know, and I just keep reading. So Ruth Ware, you got me. You do.
Because sometimes I feel you on that because I can sometimes tell by foreshadowing, like in movies and stuff.
Hmm.
Like you could figure
Yeah.
out the twist ending. Like this one movie, it was just some romance drama movie I saw like years ago with my friend, and it has Alan Rickman in it and Norman, the guy that plays some random actor in what not really random. He was in the Walking Dead, and he played Norman.
Norman Reedus?
Yes, that's the actor, Norman Reedus.
Is it?
He was
Okay.
he was in this movie. I forgot what the movie's name was, but the whole time I was thinking. And I went over to my friend Wade, and we were both watching the movie, and it was slow and boring because I'm not really into drama romance movies like that.
Hmm.
But the whole time, me and Wade was just like this, and then I noticed some signs, and I'm like, "Hey, Wagon." She's like, "Yeah." I get a feeling that Alan Rickman's character and Norman Reedus' character are actually in a gay relationship. And she's like, nah, no way. The twist? Norman Reedus came back alive, and Alan Rickman ended up making out with him, and he said, finally. And I was like, oh, Jill. And she's like, how did you know? That scene where he said, I like your face. She's like, I thought he was talking about the clock. No, why would you talk about clock? You like your face? Yeah. So yeah, but sometimes they can fully go over me and be like, "Oh, I wasn't expecting that." But yeah, it's interesting how I can tell by foreshadowing and stuff. I can tell what the twist is going to be and everything.
Right. So, like, I want to be like Ruth Ware in that aspect. I want to be able to surprise my readers. I don't want them to be able to predict too much. Now, it's a little bit more difficult when you're covering classic stories because
Mm-hmm.
you want to pay homage to them. You want that to be still be in there. Like Cinderella, I put in classic things that people know. Mary Had a Little Lamb, of course, people know Mary Had a Little Lamb, and she brings it to school and everything. So the retelling aspects are still there, but you still want to put in your surprises here and there. So when I move on to more projects, I can't wait to see what I could do with this. I really like reading people that make me want to write better.
And I love that. Okay. Okay. Do you ever want to collab on future projects? If so, who would you like to work with?
So like co-authoring.
Mm-hmm.
See, I don't
Or
know if I
writing a
could
book.
do
Or
that.
writing a book together.
Yeah, yeah, I don't know if I could do that because it's like, two minds coming together. It could be cool, but as of right now, I don't know if I could do that. Like if someone wrote part of a book and handed it to me and said, okay, what do you think? And I take it in a direction that they don't like, I don't know how I would feel about that? I always thought they were just a solitary project.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, if we did like anthologies, that could be cool. Or if we did like some sort of roundabout thing where, you know, one or like sort of like a round robin. So like where one author
Mm-hmm.
will write one chapter and then someone will write the next chapter and you kind of keep going. That would be kind of interesting. Feels like multiple
Yeah,
people doing it.
because I relate to that because I used to role play online and on
Hmm.
Tumblr and everything. And we'd do that. We'd do different paragraphs and see what happens next.
Hmm.
And
Yeah, something
man,
like that would be fun.
yeah, it's actually pretty cool. I miss doing those kind of things. Which book was your favorite to write?
I think no matter what, I'm always gonna love my whatever like the most recent one. So whatever I was working on previously, I'm gonna like the most just because it's new and it's
Mm-hmm.
fresh and it's like in my mind and it's brand new. And I think I feel that way about all of them. Even though I do have special feelings towards mice because of the way it was written, because it was written through the point of view of the mice as visions. It was different storytelling and it was a mashup of two tales. And I'm considering doing mashups in the future just because of that.
I think you should. Do you ever want to do like a parody of like certain like how the Grinch shows Christmas, like how people do like the mean one and stuff like that?
Hmm.
You want to do
Like a
that?
horror version of something else. Possibly, yeah.
Because I've been
I'll keep
seeing
it in
that.
mind.
because I have been seeing that a lot, like especially with Disney classic, like Winnie the Pooh and Bambi. The Bambi one got me. Then I was like, so you're gonna have this deal going out for revenge? Honestly, yeah, I've been seeing this happening, like a John Wick kind of deal. Like you kill my mom,
Mhm.
now I'm gonna kill you.
Can be possible.
Yeah, I mean I see it. Do you have any books you have written that you do not look so fondly on?
I'm not really. Like I did publish 3 reference titles back in my journalism days, and they were all like boring research business topics. And those so like I do have a book out there about real estate. Um I don't know anything about real estate. This was kind of an aside it's kind of an aside project that I took on. I did research. I interviewed like 50 case studies on this thing. So in reality, it was like writing one really, really long book report for school. You know, you are the sponge, you just absorb all the information you need, you squeeze it out, and then you're done. You never think about it again. So, I mean, that wasn't that fun because it was literally just information. It was just
Mm-hmm.
research. There was no creative thinking or development behind it whatsoever, except how to, construct the perfect outline for this and how to incorporate, real experiences of professionals into this. So those weren't fun,
Mm-hmm.
but it gave me a start and it gave me great discipline because if I could write a book about real estate and get away with it, then I could write about anything.
Like, would you ever want to go back to write like nonfiction, or would you just want to stick to fiction?
No.
No.
No, I mean, I'm a former journalist, so I'm used to writing articles and I've done that before, but it's like I was always thinking to myself, I'm going to write real stories someday. I'm going to write
Mm-hmm.
my own stories someday. And that's, what I would like to stick to. It's what I know.
And would you ever be interested in writing like an autobiography or a memoir about yourself?
I don't know. I still got a couple more years.
Okay.
I think I still got a couple of years on me. I think I'll wait and see if anything interesting happens, if I don't know, maybe I'll become a brain surgeon. Who knows?
Who knows? I mean, the future is unpredictable.
Yeah, maybe I'll become a mortician and write based on those experiences.
Yeah.
That'll be
Because
something to write about.
with me, I'm like, I don't know. I'm just riding the wave. That's what I'm pretty much doing now. And this podcast.
Yeah.
Okay, that one last question. I always ask every guest this at the end. It's my favorite. Well, not really my favorite question. Actually, I don't think I have a favorite question, but it's Michael's favorite question. He loves this question every time I ask a guest this question, every time I go into an ending and everything. Okay, if you could go back in time to your childhood self, what would you tell them and why?
Embrace the darkness. I would have told myself to get into horror a lot sooner. I don't think it would really change anything, but it's really funny that like when people have this idea that like when you're an adult that you peak, like you're
Mm-hmm.
done. You can't grow up anymore, and that's not true
Yeah, it's
at
not
all.
true at all.
You're not going to be stuck doing the same thing for the rest of your life. That is not true. No matter what anybody tells you, you will always be learning, you'll always be growing, you'll always be discovering new things about yourself. And that should be encouraged more because I didn't really discover the horror industry. Like I knew I was always going to be a writer. I always knew about publishing. I always knew about books. I always knew that was going to be my thing, but I had absolutely no idea that I was going to be a haunted house actor. I had
Oh,
no idea I was going to love horror movies. So if I were to go back in time to, little me, you know, write on my notebook paper, I'd say, watch scary movies. You'll like them. I promise. Little me would have been like, huh? Why? You're going to be a haunted house actor. What? Really? I mean, I think that I'm just sorry I didn't discover it sooner because I'm just like, where has this been my whole life? You know,
I
it's
feel
really
you.
amazing what you'll get into. You never know what you're going to like, honestly.
Yeah, I understand that completely. I like to thank you. Thank you for coming on my show.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Do you have any wise words for the guests? Not the guests, but what I'm talking about. Any wise words for the audience before we close out on this interview?
I mean, like I said, just you never know what you're gonna like. So if something comes your way that is new and different and exciting and maybe even a little scary, go for it. Really, try
And I
something
can,
new.
and I can
You're
agree
not you're
more.
not done. I promise.
Exactly. We're always growing each day, no matter
Mhm.
what. And we're not perfect. We all make mistakes. We just learn from them and do better.
Mhm.
Jackie, I'm going to put you backstage. So before I close out the show, I'd like to thank you again for coming on the show. Thank
Thank
you.
you very much.
You're
Follow me on
welcome.
Amazon. Yep. Follow me on social media, and of course, all books I discussed are available as paperback and ebook.
And her website is www.jackiesunboard.com, as you can see down below. I'd like to thank you, and I will see you soon. Bye bye.
Bye.
Whoops. Okay. Bye bye. Thank you. That was Jackie Sunblin, and she was amazing and such a sweet person to talk to. I cannot talk at all. I need a book on talking. She was really sweet to interview and everything, and I'm gonna definitely check out her books. So, people, I like to tell you, thank you for supporting me, supporting this show. I appreciate everybody that has subscribed and liked since episode 1 with Rachel and Raven. Because I am ending the season. Because I am taking a break from the podcast to celebrate Christmas and enjoy December month at peace. And I will resume the show back on January 4th. And the guest, it's going to be a surprise because I'm not telling anybody. So, like and subscribe, tell your friends about my show, share it, do everything. I love y'all, and I'll see you in January. And let me get my next thing going on. And I'll see you in January. Thank you again. Like and subscribe, and make it to 100 subscribers so I can do a song. Please. See y'all in January. Peace out. Bye bye.